All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on here. For me, this started out pretty abstract. Actually, it started out in a place that I was like not really sure what I was going to do with it, and I wasn't really happy with it. But that's partly why. Right, so I'm doing a course with Vanessa Lemon, who's an amazing painter and has a super cool ethereal style, super flowy, all that. And she uses this technique of, you know, starting with an abstract basically, and then like letting it tell you what's in it. So that's how this began. It just began as like a pretty chaotic abstract, and then when I made it last week. I just kind of left it in the drawing room and didn't really look at it again until I got up this morning. Well, last night I looked at it really briefly and I still couldn't see anything in it, so I was like, you know, fuck this. I'll work it out in the morning, sort of thing. And yeah, we started the class, and first I started doing this one. Where is it? There. Which is cool, but I was like, oh, I don't know about that design. Like, feels really random for me. It's like a skull. I don't know if you can tell, but it's like a skull dragon thing. And with a long tongue. It's kind of cool, but I also think, I don't know, I really am attached to that abstract, so I'm a bit scared to use it. But anyway, so this one I didn't care about so much because it was, I don't know, it just looked really, there was lots of obvious shapes, like this thing, that thing, that, and then these bits, and I was kind of like, I don't know, it just felt like messy or something. Anyway, then I was just like looking at it during this second class, and I could see this head here, and I was like, all right, cool, I'm just going to go with that. So I started like chalking in the head, and then I kind of realized that this was mirrored, like it was like a reflection almost, but she's suffocating in plastic. And yeah, so then I thought, okay, cool. So then I guess they're like probably the same person, maybe in different universes, who knows. And so yeah, then I just started kind of putting in the figure a bit, because this looked like an ass to me, and then I could see like the leg, and then I was trying to put this foot in and I realized all of this was water. And I was like, oh, sick. All right, I'll just leave that. So she's like like her legs partly submerged in water and some splashing going on. And the arm I was having trouble with. I had it in a bunch of different places. And then I had a look in my library and I realized I've got an image of a friend that's kind of in this position. So yeah, I started using that as a reference. Yeah, and then I still have no idea what's going on here, but I don't know. I'm happy to see where it goes, I think. But yeah, I really enjoy not having a plan, even though planning is also kind of fun. Like, I'd still do that. I don't not do it. But when I start with these abstracts, they really do tell me things. Like, they tell me what they want to be a lot of the time. But it was funny because usually I see a lot of faces, but these last few that I've made, I haven't seen any faces really, and I feel like it's way harder for me to begin when I don't really know, I can't really see the figure yet. So yeah, it kind of came together once I saw that face, I was able to sort of plan around that. What did I just do? What do I want to talk about? Oh, so this here, like, as I was painting it in, I started to see that this was like this hole in her back. And I decided to actually exacerbate it a bit more and keep it there, because I realized, well, not I realized, but I decided it was when I did Vipassana, I had these very large blockages in my body, where, so in Vipassana you kind of do a body scan from head to toe, meditating, like, yeah, during your meditation. And I'd feel everything. And then as soon as I got to this part of my back, just blank. There's nothing. And I would sit there and just concentrate so hard, and I would feel nothing. And so then I would just have to move on, because you're not supposed to get too attached or whatever. Like, you're just supposed to accept it. I mean, I wasn't accepting it, but the goal is to accept it and move on. And then it was the same on the front. I had this huge blank spot on my chest as well. And by the end of the course, so it's like basically 10 days, but it's like 12, I don't know, of meditating. I still was not able to feel anything on my back and my front, and I was struggling with that a lot. I was getting really frustrated, which that's like, the game is to accept things as they are and move on. And it took me a long time to get to the point of going, oh, okay, I just have to accept that I can't feel anything there, and it's some kind of blockage, and I don't know why, and then just move on. So eventually I got there, but it took me like 9 days to get to that point. So anyway, then right at the very end, I ended up having this conversation with this guy, this Dutch guy, who was really interesting. Because at the end, like, it's a silent retreat, and then at the end you're allowed to talk to each other. And I got into this conversation about my blind spots, and he said that he's been doing Vipassana for like 20 years, and he's never been able to gain feeling in some of his blind spots. And from his learnings, he's been taught, like, some of his teachers have said to him, sometimes we have those spots because if we can feel there, then it's too painful. So it's sort of like safer for us to not feel those places. Which comes back to this idea of storing trauma in the body in a physical way, which I do believe. I don't even know if it's questionable. Maybe some people do question it, but I have experienced it personally, of having that something release and just be like, whoa, I didn't even realize how guarded I was in some parts of my body, and it's totally stored traumas and triggered memories and stuff like that. But yeah, so anyway, the point is that I left the hole there because I decided it made sense for me, since I have a blind spot on my back in that area. But yeah, so I don't know. And then down here, for some reason, well, not for some reason, but it just feels like it's going to be it's like some little Italian grotto. I studied in Italy last year, and there was an epic grotto that we all went to a couple of times, the artists that I was studying with and people I was studying with. It was really, really stunning. And also, I have an attachment to Italy because I am Italian. Well, my grandma is Italian. And I concern myself a lot with my ancestry and my family history is something constantly coming up for me in terms of like things I'm exploring, questioning, or avoiding sometimes. So yeah, it just feels like the Italian grotto down here, which is basically like a secret body of water, with like lots of beautiful rocks and waterfalls, and yeah, it's stunning. So that's what's going on down there. Like I said, I don't even know what's going to happen here. I'm just going with the flow because it doesn't really matter to me. Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with this one. So far I've spent literally maybe 2.5 hours to this point in total. There used to be a painting underneath, which is why you can see some of that texture there. I'm painting on wood, and this is oil paint. So yeah, that's it really.